all my animals. Hello and welcome back to Jack's Mini Zoo, and today we're going to be, I'm going to be showing you all the animals that I own. So we're going to be starting off with the fish, then going on to the insects, then reptiles, and then mammals. So let's get on with it. Okay, so we're going to start off with this tank. So this tank right here houses Lenny, and Lenny is my weathered Loach. So I recently just got him in my newest video, link I'll put up here I think. So there he is. He's the most active aquarium fish that I own. As you can see, he's swimming around. I have taken all of the live plants out, and the live plants are now in this little tank here. So that's because he makes such a mess because of how much he swims around and just churns everything up, because he likes to dig in the sand as well. But hopefully in the future I'll be getting a 10-gallon tank and be housing him with some Ranchu goldfish, which will be quite a good tank. So we'll move on to the next tank. Okay, so this was in the same video that my last video. So I've got 5 white clouded mountain minnows, and there they are there. So Dom is the biggest one, and he's my very first one, and I think that's him. That's one of them, him there. So as you can see, it's not the best aquarium, it's only a temporary one. I will hopefully be redoing this. Well, when he goes into his 10-gallon, these guys will be going back into this tank, and I'll be putting all the plants back in there. But here they are. They think I've got food. Yeah, these are great pets to keep. Both of these are freshwater, so don't require any heat. All of my fish are freshwater. I just prefer freshwater fish, to be honest. But once these guys have moved into here and I've got the 10-gallon tank, this will be housed to a blue crayfish. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss that video when it happens. Okay, so I'm going on to this tank over here. So this isn't really my fish, this is where I've got all the plants that were in my big tank, and I've also got my tadpole snails in here. So can't really see any. Oh, there he is, right there, if you can see him there. So that's one of the tadpole snails in there. There's about 3. So these are just keeping all the algae down, and I quite like it. It's just like a little planted terrarium. And also, if these have little baby fry, which I think one of them, actually that might be the one that's pregnant, that one right there. If they have baby fry, so the fry will actually go in here first and then be transferred back over there. So now we're going to go on to the last fish, and that fish is outside, and he's a goldfish. So I'm just going to show you him. So I'm not going to get too close, but as you can see, there's the goldfish right there. He's never usually on the top, so as soon as I get close enough, he'll probably move away. There you go. You see, he's just gone. I was just making to make sure if he was alright. But he lives in this outside pond. This is one of my favourite ponds because of how much life it's got in it. He lives with a bunch of pond snails as well. But there he is. He's massive. His name's El Diablo. I got him from a fish fair actually, and he's been living here for about I'm going to say 2 years. And here we go. Here's one of the snails. So they just live happily with him. I feed him every day, just normal fish food. Okay, so let's go on to the insects. Okay, so with the invertebrates, we're going to start over this side. So in this tank right here is housed, if you can see him just under that log, that little black bit sticking out from under that log, that's my Madagascar hissing cockroach. But also, in amongst the dirt here, I'll put an image up, right there. This is housed to my sun beetle larvae. So these should be emerging very soon. And yeah, that's about it with the insects. I'm not going to get him out because he doesn't like being held, and he'll try and run away. He's escaped once, so I'm not going to risk it again. Okay, so and then in this one is housed to my Burmese beauty millipede. Also, again, I'm not going to get him out. I'll put a video up here while I'm talking. And he's very small. Oh, there you go. Just right there where my thumb is. So he's very small, but he's very nice as well. So he'll actually grow to, well, he'll actually, when he's grown up, he'll live in this communal tank. So it'll be a nice big communal tank, and it'll be perfect for all of them. Okay, so we're going to go up to the top shelf here. So in here, my feeder locust, all along there. Nothing really to say about that. In here is my dubia colony. I'm not going to get any of them out, but I will get this top box out. So I recently upgraded him into this top box. So here he is. Here he is. This top box is home to my garden snail Frank. So that's Frank right there. So this is quite a nice big box. There's his lettuce. He's got a little hide, his cuttlefish bone, a bit of different surface, and his water bowl. But yeah, Frank I've had for years now. He's a great little pet, but there's nothing much more to say about a garden snail, to be honest. So I'll put him back. And now we've moved on to the stick insects. So the one in my hand right now is my Indian or laboratory stick insect. So this is the adults, and they live in this little enclosure. So as you can see, it's got nice and all planted and they'll eat all that. And then up above it, in this little tiny one, is the babies. So I've got 5 babies and I've got 5 adults. So this is one of them. So just literally imagine this one, but like about the size of this on its tail. That's how big they are. But yeah, so that's the Indian stick insects. I'll put him back. And we'll move on to the bigger stick insects I own. Now we've moved on to the giant prickly stick insects, or spiny leaf insects. So this is a big male here. He's the biggest one out of all 3 of my Indians. The Indians are giant pricklies, and they live in this big tank, this enclosure that I made. Link up here. There we go. But yeah, so these are much more interesting than the Indians, I think. But I quite like having both to just show people like the difference in stick insects. But as you can see, he is massive. So this is a male, because you can tell by the wings, because he has actually got wings. If you can just see there, if I lift his tail down, just above his tail, I'll put a picture of a male right here with his wings out, and then right there, that's a female. She doesn't have wings, but she's a lot thicker as well. So I'll just put him back, and we'll move on to the arachnids now. Okay, so the first arachnid we're going to move on to is my wolf spider. So this is his enclosure. It's just a little one, but as you can see that he's made it into his home. So I actually caught him above my headboard in my bed, and I thought he's actually really cool. And I think he actually much prefers it in captivity, because he's one of my best eaters out of all of my pets. I'll put a video of him eating now. My next arachnid is right behind my wolf spider, and that is my Asian forest scorpion. So I'm not sure, but you can actually, if I zoom in, you can see him down in his burrow. I'll put a picture of me holding him up in the corner, but that's his enclosure. I'm not going to get him out because he is quite feisty, but as you can see, it is a bioactive enclosure. It's my only bioactive enclosure, but I'm hoping in the future to do more and to do themed enclosures as well. I've got some ideas, so make sure you put the bell icon and keep updated. And my last arachnid is my Mexican red-knee tarantula, and he lives in this little one. So he's a sling. So I'm going to put a picture here of him, because he's too small to get out, otherwise I would have a chance of losing him. But that's his little enclosure. So he's got a little bit of cork bark that he can go under or on top. He's got a little water dish, and then I feed him crickets, but I kill the crickets first and then put them in, and he sucks it all, like the juices out. But then I've also got bin weevils in there, but he doesn't really like the bean weevils, so I just tend to feed him crickets. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the reptiles. So now we're moving on to my first ever pet and reptile. So that is Emerald. So here she is. So she's usually really good at handling. I'm not sure what's wrong with her today. But let me just try and pick her up again. Here we go. So here she is. So she's a leopard gecko, as you can probably see. She lives in this massive enclosure right here. She's a great hunter. I'm going to put her back now. So there she goes. But yeah, she was my first ever pet, and Reptile. So I've had dogs before, but she's my first ever proper pet. So well, there she is. She's about 5 years old, so she'll get a little bit bigger and hopefully start to mature and have a bit more spots on her. But she's perfect. Well, I'm not that bothered. She's fine how she is, as long as she's healthy. And as you can see, she is. She's got a nice fat tail. So let's move on to my other reptile. So I've only got 2 reptiles, but I'm hoping to expand my collection slowly but surely. Okay, so my last reptile is here, and he is Sheldon, my Horsfield tortoise. I'm not sure, you might be able to hear him. He was probably scuttling around this whole video. He's always wanting attention and food, but I've fed him already today, so here he is. So let me just pick him up. There he is. And so that's Sheldon. He's got a pretty good temperament. Well, he's a tortoise, so he's going to have the same temperament really. But yeah, he always wants attention from me. He's 2 years old, but I've only had him for about 5 months. Looks like he's swimming. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the mammals. So I've only got a couple of mammals, but that'll be the last part of the video. First mammal is, we're going to be doing the dogs. So this is Jasper. He's a Shih Tzu West Island Terrier, and he's grumpy ever since we've got the new puppy. But there he is. So now we're going to go and see the new puppy. So this is Dexter. He is the new puppy. So he is a Jack Russell, and he's about 2 months old, and he's just really tired at the moment, as you can see, just about to fall asleep. But yeah, he's so playful. So we'll just go on to the last dog and then go on to the other mammals. So this is the last dog. This is Hank, the Wheaten Terrier. He's very excited because I've got ferret food in my hand, but he's kind of the outside dog. He much prefers to be outside, and he's the biggest dog as well. But all the dogs are terriers, and he knows that he's not getting any food, so he's just walked off in a grump. But yeah, so now we're going to be feeding the ferrets. Okay, so these are the ferrets. So the kind of darker brown chocolate colour is Niffler, and the pure white is Sandy. So they're really excited because they know I've got food for them. It's about their feeding time now, so I'm going to be feeding them. I've had these for about a year now. They are so lovely. I've trained them really well because they don't bite at all, not even when they're hungry, so that they come to sniff the camera. So I'll feed them now and they'll calm down. Here you go. So they're very personable ferrets. We do use them to go rabbiting. Niffler's more of the hunter, but Sandy is more of the calmer. She wants the more love, to be honest. But yeah, so this is their enclosure. I've done a video on how I built it. So this was already built before I did the other enclosure, but then I've just attached a pipe and it's a new enclosure, so it's much bigger for them. In the future I would like to do a walk-in enclosure for these guys, but it'll be a long time before I do that. So I've got a lot more stuff planned. But yeah, they've got a lot of hides to choose from. So that's an upturned plant pot. There's another plant pot, pipes, and a whole indoor little play area, and a nest box up there. But yeah, it's just a great little space for them. So now we're going to be moving on. Well, actually I'll talk about the chickens now. So we have a lot of chickens. So that's a Rhode Island Red, and that is a green-legged partridge chicken. I have 3 of them, 1 of these. We also have a little bantam there. There's another Rhode Island green-legged partridge chicken thing. That's a brown, can't think of the names, but we've got 2 brown. Yeah, there's the other one. But yeah, so these chickens just live in amongst this bit. So they usually have this long bit outside, but we're having trouble with a fox recently. So we're just keeping them inside for the moment. But yeah, so they live underneath the ferrets. The ferrets and the chickens, they just don't even bother with each other, to be honest. It's perfect for them. As you can see, we've got all kind of hay on the ground. There's their box, but we feed them different things. They have fresh greens and a chicken dieted pellet as well. But yeah, so we're moving on to the guinea pigs now, and that is the last animal on today. So now we're moving on to the guinea pigs bit. So this is their whole bit. They have a massive bit. So this is their normal bit where they can go inside. They're actually in that bit right now because it's really hot outside, but they can come. So if you just look Oh, I'll open the gate actually. Oh, there's Pebbles. If you look, they can actually get down to the bottom bit, but we lock them away at night. Oh, there's Pebbles and Rocky actually. So let's see if we can get them to come down. I've got some grass for them. Come on then. So they eat all kinds of stuff. Their favourite is fresh greens. These are dandelion leaves, but they'd eat pelleted diet, so guinea pig pelleted diet. Come on, Rocky. So we have Pebbles is at the front eating right now, and Rocky, I'm not sure, you can just see him behind Pebbles trying to steal his food. Come on. Rocky's more of the shyer one, Pebbles is more of the active one, but they both don't really like handling, because we did get them at quite an old age and kind of rescued them. We've had them for about 4 years now. But yeah, they are great pets. So they've got this whole bit to run around on. It's quite a large bit, to be honest. But we do have that carrier box, and they will come inside in winter when it's a bit colder. But yeah, so that's about it for today. So thank you for watching Jack's Mini Zoo. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to make sure you don't miss any new videos. And I will see you on the next one.